Hello, guys, welcome to this podcast, Everyday Talkies, which ironically does not come out daily. I am Anshul and I talk about random things to random people, majorly about life, perspectives, and thinking process. It's like an interview, or let's say more of a conversation with one or two guests about random topics that interest us. To be really honest, it's just a way to reduce my inhibitions in talking to people. So come join me and enjoy. Hello, guys, welcome to the new mini series for Everyday Talkies. I don't know how many mini series will I start parallelly, but yes, why not? So, basically, given that I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and you guys obviously know Pushkar, who is also a Star Trek fan. So, Pushkar, say hi.
Hello.
Yes, he's back again. Probably, I don't have any more guests. So, given that his expertise in so many fields, he's gonna be a recurring guest, probably co-host. What all? He'll ask partnership for this podcast when it starts earning money. He'll ditch me. He'll be
No,
whatever.
I'll directly sue you once you start earning money.
Oh, so yeah. Guys, if you see that if I'm not coming on the podcast anymore often, then you know what might have happened. But okay, let's not digress. Coming back. So, given that Star Trek has started again with its new animated series, Lower Decks, soon it will be followed by Discovery Season 3. Hopefully, when it ends, we get, Section 31 and probably Picard Season 2 and all of that. So,
Strange New World.
oh yeah, Strange New World, not forgetting that.
Star Trek Prodigy. There's so much Star Trek, dude.
I want that golden age back when we have the continuous trek all throughout the year so that I have something to look forward to every week. So for that we thought, why not record those short mini episodes where we express our love for each of the episodes that we watch and discuss how it was and just our general views. We are no experts, just fans, so take it at that. And if you get excited by listening to these episodes, do watch them out. Lower Decks is currently on CBS All Access, so get a subscription, watch that. I am not promoting pirating, but if you do, I won't know, and hopefully it will come in Prime or Netflix someday, so or watch it then. So why don't we start, Pushkar, right in the beginning?
First of all, I want to talk about the theme song because how good was that theme?
Yes
Just like the opening theme, just it's a throwback to Next Generation and Voyager. I don't think it's a better opening than Voyager, but it's pretty close with the shots of the ship going by in space to through different things. Like the opening it just goes through a black hole, dude. Like what?
Like after the opening I felt that just with the opening the ship was falling into trouble each and every time. So I expect that the ship, so Cerritos is basically what I gathered from that intro, is that ship which is completely opposite to Enterprise, Discovery and all of that, where they go into problems and recover from that, but Cerritos is the one which falls into the problems and just never recovers. I don't know why.
Cerritos is like, it's the ship in the Federation where they try to hide that ship somewhere. Like look at Voyager and look at Enterprise and look at Discovery. Don't like Cerritos is just like side.
It's one of those ones where nobody knows about, but yeah, that's basically the theme of entire Lower Decks. So Pushkar, we'll go into these small aspects section by section. First of all, Lower Decks, first episode, short one-line review. Did you like it or not?
First episode, I really liked it. I think it has a lot of room to improve, but as it is, it just made me so happy because see, Discovery and Picard, the new show that we have got, they're like shows that have season-long arcs, and they're not really about exploration. They're not really about what Star Trek is classically known for. As much as I like Discovery and Picard, I was feeling this void for classic Trek, which was just about goofing off into space and getting into trouble and all that. So I think Lower Decks is a very good return to that kind of exploratory type of series, and you have like one-off episodes. In that way, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved the return to those classic Trek uniforms with like kind of like small modifications like the white stripe. One thing I noticed is the sound effect, the beeps and the whooshes when they teleport. All those things came back, which I really, really missed. So yeah, overall, I really, really loved. I mean, it has room to improve, but as it is, I was laughing madly. I absolutely loved it. And what about you?
Like while we were deciding to record, I'm sure you must have also checked in on internet what are the people saying, and people are giving bad reviews. I strongly disagree.
Yeah.
Probably we are biased given that we are Star Trek fanatics. I understand like it is not the usual Trek that you see. Some ways similar probably because you have the episode long arcs, and towards the end you got references to all basically original characters.
Oh my god, so many references, dude, like to original series and everything. It was so amazing.
Yeah, so that's good. All of that is good, and I liked it. obviously there's room for improvement, but I liked the idea that we see more of basically the lower decks people whom we never ever saw in the entire Star Trek.
I mean, the whole idea of the show Lower Decks came from this Next Generation episode called Lower Decks. Even that episode was kind of like an in-joke. What do in all the episodes, the captains keep yelling about there are like 400 people on this ship and I will not abandon them and this and that. And every time they go down, somebody who's like an extra, who's like a Lower Decks character ends up dying.
Yeah, there's a meme, right? So every red t-shirt dies.
Yeah, even John Scalzi is like he's a sci-fi author. He wrote a novel about this in 2012 called Red Shirts, which is a hilarious novel. I think if you're a Star Trek fan or just like a sci-fi fan, you should read it. It is absurd. It is amazing. When I heard like Lower Decks was happening, I was like, oh, immediately my thought was John Scalzi's Red Shirts. Watching this episode, it is very different from what I had expected, which took me a while to adjust. But once I had made that kind of adjustment, I really enjoyed watching this, because what happened was when they announced Lower Decks, it was like a writer from Rick and Morty had jumped from he had gone from Rick and Morty to basically creating Lower Decks. So I was like, oh, maybe this will be like a edgy, dark kind of a thing. But I really enjoyed the fact that it was not that. It was fun and it was a very happy-go-lucky, like especially the main character, Ensign Mariner. He's like a fully loose kind of a character who's just there to have fun and make friends and also help out people without getting into like the serious Starfleet bureaucracy. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Ensign Mariner, awesome. Towards the end, we get to know. Okay, spoilers, please. Spoiler alert. Ensign Mariner is basically the daughter of the ship's captain and the admiral. It's an interesting thing. You get to know what people actually do to keep the ship running.
The whole theme of that episode was what exactly Second Contact is. Like Enterprise and Discovery and Voyager, they go to these places, they make first contact, they blast some things, and then they go off. And a ship like Cerritos is left to basically create a structure of that whole mess that the First Contact has left. And also, I absolutely loved that thing where, the first officer, Jack Ransom, he goes down, he does the whole Second Contact thing, he gets bit by a mosquito, he goes up. It's just like classic Star Trek thing, like you get bit by something on a planet, you go up and you're like, do you want to get that checked out? Absolutely not. What could go wrong? You have zombies.
And the best part of the episode was like, if this would have been any other Star Trek, the entire episode would have revolved around the virus and on the ship, but this episode revolved around what happened on the planet while that was happening on the ship. The ship thing was more comical in nature, just to fill the gaps, I would say. The real stuff was happening in the planet.
The B-grade story was like the focus of the thing, and I really liked that story where Mariner goes to help the farmers who don't have time for Starfleet bureaucracy. And I absolutely loved those like cow spider thingies that eat basically Ensign Boimler. Just the whole thing where it sucks the moisture out of him. It's hilarious and it's exactly the kind of science fiction that I love.
But I'm sure like Gene Roddenberry is turning on his graves, because Gene Roddenberry is more of he envisioned Star Trek as something which the Earth has evolved into. Like everything structured. You have iron pressed clothes. You don't even want creases like you see in the original series, even in Next Generation and all of that. Everything is particular and they're all above the petty human crises there is.
Yeah, they have like no personal conflict. Everybody is like in tip-top shape and they have to resolve conflicts of other species and stuff. And I mean, I think that's fine. I mean, I don't know, I might get a lot of hate from Star Trek fans, but like let Gene Roddenberry roll in his grave, because there's only so many stories you can tell with the original series crew. Because even in Next Generation, even in DS9, even in Voyager, or even the most egregious example I think is Enterprise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody is fighting with everybody, and just like humans and Vulcans are just like shitting on each other. And Gene Roddenberry's vision, I think, has been surpassed long ago, and I think that's what happens when you have so many shows, so many episodes. You have to explore other corners of that universe. And while I think Gene Roddenberry's vision works great for like that original series on Next Generation Enterprise, I think Lower Decks is a great example of not completely turning over Gene Roddenberry's legacy, but exploring that world where if you have this perfect ship and this perfect crew, it obviously makes sense that you would also have an imperfect ship with an imperfect crew. You can't expect everything to be perfect, and so it's it's a nice contrast to that philosophy. And I think it's really fun to watch different corners of the Star Trek universe and to find out that maybe not all of them are perfect and they don't have to be.
Yeah, makes sense. See, Enterprise, I would say, had the license because it was before the evolved times of original series or Next Generation, all of that. And Lower Decks, given in future, okay, I understand it's a different theme, and I love whatever they're doing.
I also love like the bridge crew. Like a lot of them are basically parodies of the Next Generation crew. Like there's this one really big guy who's, I noticed he was Bajoran. I was like so happy to see another Bajoran after like DS9 because we do not have enough Bajorans in Star Trek. We need more Bajoran. So he was like this big Bajoran guy, and whenever something bad happened and the captain would ask him for advice, that guy would be like, I suggest we detonate the warp core.
He was like Worf but Bajoran.
Yeah, and obviously like the first officer Jack Ransom is like, he's a parody of Riker, and the captain I think is a little bit of a parody of Picard and Kirk. I really loved the chief medical officer of the ship, cat-like thing. That was a reference to the animated series, the first animated series of Star Trek that came out. They had like a cat-like member on board, so she's like a reference to that, which I really loved. And she's really good. She's like full on Bones in that she's like really sarcastic. Yeah, let's talk about the main characters. We've talked about all these side people, but main characters, you have Ensign Mariner, Ensign Boimler, Ensign Tendi, and Ensign Rutherford. Yeah, what did you think of all the characters?
Mainly with Boimler and Mariner, I would say that it was predictable what were the characters, like right from the beginning. From the beginning scene, he's the aspirational captain and wants to follow the rules and all of that. She's more of a rogue person, but more experienced and things like that. You could get that. It's a good camaraderie, I would say, like towards the end, how they bonded over and how he understands how her experience counts, things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting set of characters. I'm looking forward to them. Let's see how this turns out. I'm like really excited because this is a new set of storyline which you don't really imagine when you're watching Trek in general. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I really like the characters as well. Like Mariner, I thought was a good mix of, you know, Kirk and Burnham, as in she's like very cocky but she doesn't care about rules. I really like that. I like Boimler as well. He's like the innocent, naive kind of aspirational character who does not know anything but likes to pretend that he knows a lot. And I like that he grows a little by the end, where he becomes where he kind of starts not just aspiring to become the captain but aspiring to be like a good person, more like a mariner. So I really like that. And as for like Ensign Tendi, that was like one of the best moments I think from the episode, where Ensign Tendi is just standing and you see the shot of all the stars going by behind her. Yeah, that was I think one of the best shots. It really sums up like Ensign Tendi. Like no matter how shitty everything is on the Cerritos, she's just happy to be there.
That's such an awesome thing. Like I feel that Lower Decks have a better bunking room than the other higher officers because it's like literally sleeping under the stars or among the stars. It was an amazing scene. Yeah. Okay, what about the last character, Cyborg?
Rutherford. Yeah, Rutherford is like a more of a, I don't know, I didn't get much from him. I'm hoping he gets a lot. I really like that he went on this amazing date while this, you know, everything is going down. Zombies are attacking and he's just casually on a date.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? These situations, virus attacking and all that, it's a daily activity on the ship. So people go on with their regular lives. There's some tragedy or the other every day.
No, but that's the thing. Like he went on a date and everything, but it's so interesting that his first love is still science, that when something goes wrong, like this bay door did not open automatically, he's more worried about that than his whole date. And I think that is something I really like, that he's so dedicated to his work rather than, you know, these relationships that maybe someone like Riker or someone like Kirk would be like, okay, let me just do this first and like we'll deal with the mission later.
That is true. Like every Star Trek needs to have a character who is calm, composed, more like a Vulcan. So I'm imagining him to be Rutherford to be that character. Like you could see some traits of it when there was a malfunctioning of his whatever eye socket or thing, and he became an emotionless fellow like a Vulcan. But yeah, you need that kind of character.
You either have to have a Vulcan or a Data-like character. We'll go out with what were some of your best moments from the first episode?
Obviously, let's not forget the Starry Night. Second thing was the spider sucking on Boimler. I don't know why. Hilarious.
Yeah, it's so nice. And the spider is like, you think he's like a monster, but he turns out to be like just like a nice cow. Who's like, and the way he just like falls down after he's done and kind of like goes to sleep and starts purring. He's like a nice cat.
The third and the most, I think that whole sequence was really, it was funny to see that the entire virus was happening and they put on the spacesuits, were jumping, having a spacewalks hands in hands, Rutherford and the other character. And you know, when he finds that door error and all of that. So that whole sequence was really nice. What about you? basically covered the entire episode.
Pretty much, you haven't left anything for me. The first I really loved was Ensign Tendi being drunk on Romulan whiskey and just like swinging the bat'leth around. And just like that bat'leth, the moment it kind of goes into Boimler's leg, that was just like so hilarious to me because you never see like bat'leths being used in a deadly manner. So this was like the first time, and it happens accidentally, and it's so dumb. I loved it. Second moment, obviously, I would have to pick with Ensign Tendi the star moment, but since you've already picked that, I'll also pick when Tendi is pumping that guy's heart, which I found really funny for like Star Trek. It was such a fun joke. Another moment specifically I really loved is in the end when the main crew goes out of the medical bay and our four main characters just like go by the door and sit down and they're like all tired and like I think Boimler asked Tendi, how was your first experience on the ship, and she's like I love it. And so yeah, I really like Tendi more than I thought. I think she's such a nice character who's just happy to be there, and no matter what happens. My standout would be Ensign Tendi.
Yeah, obviously, like, somehow we relate to that person. Like, what would happen if you went on a starship? You would be like her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why like we relate to that character a lot. This has already been like a long record. Like, this is what happens when Star Trek comes into our lives. But we'll do this every episode, and it would be fun doing this for each episode, discussing them. It would be fun. I'm really enjoying this already. So till then, thank you, bye bye, and meet you in the next episode. Bye.
Kapla.
Thank you to all the listeners. I'll catch up with you again soon with someone new and lots of interesting discussions. So, bye.